Hey guys, hey, I'm live. I'm live again. So, what I thought I'd do in this live stream is just catch up with you all, do a little check on the latest news, etc., but also talk about Black Friday, which I try not to get suckered into Black Friday every year, but I've always got things on my Amazon wish list. I've always got things that I think I need to buy this for YouTube recording on my PC or whatever. And then I see them dropping price on Black Friday, so I always end up buying a few different things. So I'd like to talk about that in this video as well. I don't really have anything set per se as far as what we're going to be talking about. It really does depend on who turns up, who asks what questions. I prefer to do things that way, to be honest. Whenever I find that I say, right, we're talking about this one thing, everyone keeps asking about a phone or a laptop or something, and I get completely derailed. So why not just be derailed from the start? So audio's coming through okay. That's all good. I hope. So yeah, if you're watching, guys, the way it works is if you're watching, leave a comment, we chat away, talk to each other, be nice, be respectful, don't be an a-hole. And yeah, we're just going to be talking about technology and different things. Obviously, Black Friday has kind of grown Amazon legs over the last few years. It started off in North America, it started off in America with Thanksgiving, etc., and we kind of copied it. Well, here in the UK. I mean, I think this came from Amazon and Walmart, and different companies trying to bring it over here because they realized that, they could peak sales a little bit before Christmas. And it's kind of grown into something big. And then off the back of that, Amazon have done their own Amazon Prime Day, kind of to fill a void in the summer as well. So there's a lot of bargains that you'll see with Black Friday. They're not really bargains, but there's always a few things that are quite that are good. No doubt about it, that are good. The savings are good. A lot of it's not though. You see, like definitely when it comes to like mics and accessories and cables, you'll see a lot of people, they'll artificially inflate the price of a product for a few weeks, and then they will reduce it and say 40% off, 50% off. But there are legitimate bargains, certainly here in the UK as well, and always on Amazon devices as well. So if you're watching, guys, let me know if you've been looking at anything. But what I'll do, bring up one of my favourite websites, Hot UK Deals, and we'll have a look at Amazon as well. Now, obviously, I do appreciate everyone who logs in from around the world. You probably shop on Amazon Canada or France or USA or something, but I'll look at Amazon UK because this is where I am. You can hear with the Scottish accent. This is where I am. This is where I am. So, just get that sorted. So, yeah, I'm going to check out a few things. Now, as far as what I've been looking at, I do try and plan ahead. And what I do is I will put things on Amazon wish list, and I do that a lot. And then I'll also have, just at the back of my mind, what am I going to be buying? What's available? But there's always a few things that kind of catch my eye and I don't really need them. Now, I'll give you an example of that. I was talking to my friend Michael, and Michael was looking at phones and different things. And if you look on Hot UK Deals, there's a lot of really good deals with phones right now. And the one that I want to show you was the Mi 10T. Add a T in there. So the Mi 10T, and all right, okay, I'll just find the general deal. Xiaomi have got a really good, a number of good deals going on there. There's Mr. Switch. I'm not sure if he's going to turn up today, but he was on the live stream last time. He posts a lot of deals on Hot UK Deals. But there's a lot of really, really good deals. A lot of good, at least in the Android world, there's a lot of really good phone deals right now. Really good. So check out that one. The one that my friend, there's a Poco X3 as well. The one that I recommended to my friend to check out was the Mi 10T. So there's the Mi 10T Pro, but that was actually, that's the bigger version, but they actually had the Mi 10 M10 what am I talking about? M10T Pro for £399, and that's an absolute beast of a phone. I'm trying to find the 10T. For the life of me, I can't find it here. Right. Let's see if, there we go. Mi 10T. Okay, so that was AliExpress. There was one in the UK as well, though, which I'll try and find. They had one for 300. For the life of me, I cannot find it. There it's there. That's it there, actually. That's it there. So they had this deal. I don't know if it's still going on. I think it is 339. Now they had this phone, and they had it at £299. Now this is one of those phones that if you're not really interested in phones, if you're not interested in watch channels like mine, this is maybe a phone that came out, kind of went under the radar. As far as being popular or getting exposure, and maybe it's different in your area. Different phones get picked up by different phone carriers around the world, but this phone is genuinely well, that's the Pro version, right enough. Get the proper there. Where's the 10? See, it keeps linking to the Pro or the Lite. I just want the regular one. Right, here we go. So this phone is only £300. Now I was thinking about this a lot, just because of how much value you get from this. So now there it's there. So there's the Mi 10T. For the life of me, I cannot get the name of this phone right. So this is, yeah, I'll show you the official specs first. I'll show you the official specs. So £339. Now, I think that's talking, is that talking about the 10T? It's 339 just now. It was 300. Now, if you go down here, you'll see some of the specs. 5G for a start. Really, really good. Now, the standard Mi 10T has got a triple camera system, which is kind of focused around a 64 megapixel main sensor, but the Pro has got 108 megapixels, and that's a little bit more expensive. Not much more really for what you're getting. Yeah, you can see that the Pro's got a macro camera as well. I don't think that one's in the 10T. So one of the other things that you get, one of the other selling points about this is that the Mi 10T has got a 144 hertz display. 144 hertz. That is unbelievable, unbelievable. And it's unbelievable because, well, not just because it's got a high refresh rate screen, but it's unbelievable because of the price. That's got a Snapdragon 865, one of the best CPUs that, I know the Plus version's out now, but one of the best Android CPUs, the flagship CPU of 2020 in the Android world. And they're selling it in a phone at £300, and it's got a 144 hertz refresh rate. Now, of course, maybe in a year, maybe in 2 years, Apple are going to take up their iPhone range. This is iPhone 12 mini. And they will probably come out and say, look, we've got a 90 hertz or perhaps a 120 hertz refresh rate at one point. And Apple are going to make a big deal about this in a year or two. And they're going to do their Apple thing and talk like they've ignored the rest of the world and talk like this is something that's never been done before. But of course, we've had high refresh rates on Android phones for a few years. But 144 hertz is very special on a phone. Certainly from a gaming point of view and, just from a fluidity. Is that the right word, fluidity? For a buttery smooth user interface, a high refresh rate is pretty good. So it just kind of boggles my mind, Like I've paid £750 for this phone. And this is the cheapest iPhone 12 you can get, the cheapest one. And it's still more than twice the price of a phone, which has got like a 5000 milliamp battery, a really good CPU, and a 144 hertz refresh rate, not to mention a triple camera system and all that. So, yeah, you can record up to 8K as well. I'll look at the specs in a second, but the point is, there are legitimate bargains in Black Friday, and I'm the first to criticize Black Friday. I'm the first to say that they push a lot of crap and they bump up prices for a few weeks or even longer so that they can bring the prices down. And a lot of the time they'll masquerade something that's going down in price anyways. If they release a new product, they know that they have to get rid of it, get rid of remaining stock. They'll drop the price and they'll sell it on Black Friday knowing that the new version is coming out in January or December or whatever. So there are bargains to be had. There are a lot of things which are being promoted as bargains, but they're not bargains. So you just have to do your research. As always, do your research. Make sure everything is okay. Make sure there's no problems with anything. And, as far as companies pulling the blinkers over you, and kind of saying that something is a bargain when it's not. But there are legitimate bargains, and this is definitely one that caught my eye. So this is GSM Arena. The Mi 10 5G. So it was selling for 300, but even now at 339, it's still a bargain. For 300, you'll get a 6.67 inch screen. 5G, 64 megapixel based triple camera system, 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM depending which version you get, and 5000. And to be honest, 6 gigabytes of RAM is still fine. I mean, the iPhone's got 4. Yes, well, the higher and iPhone 12s have got 6, but I still think 6 is fine for an Android phone in most situations. There's very few situations I think 6 is not enough. You've got that 144 hertz display. What's the pixels per inch? It's some here. Here we go. 395. Gorilla Glass 5, Android 10, Snapdragon 865, the Adreno 650, which comes with that chipset. UFS 3.1. So for those of you who don't know, UFS 3.1 is the storage. So UFS 3.1 really just refers to the SSD, the hard drive that's in your phone. I think it's a really good deal here. And the front camera here, the selfie camera, it's like a little pinhole camera, kind of like the ones you saw in the Huawei P30 and all that last year. And it's a 20 megapixel sensor which can do 1080p at 30. I would have liked that to have been better, but that's the exact same sensor that is in the more expensive one, the one that's like the quad camera 108 megapixel sensor. So across the board, this is pretty good. 33 watt charging as well, which actually compared to some other Android phones this year, it's not even that good. You know, I tested was it the Realme X50 Pro, and that was 65 watts. But 33 watts, you're talking a full charge in like 1 hour. So there's bargains to be had. This is definitely, if you're on the lookout for a phone, I think the Mi 10T is one of the phones that should maybe be on your radar, or the Mi 10T Pro. Definitely these are phones that, you know, I've got the Poco phone here. Which, if I switch back to my main camera, so this is my Poco phone, and I've got a very ugly magnet at the back, but it means that I can stick it to my car very easily. So that's the Poco phone, and the Mi 10T that I'm looking at there is quite similar, you know, to this as far as the triple camera system. This is kind of based on the MT loosely, but I would say the M10T is a better phone than this one. I do think that, and this I paid 415 for this. And I've loved this. This has been a fantastic phone. So that's definitely one of the phones that I've seen, and definitely one of the bargains I've seen in Black Friday. Now, it's not just phones that have come down in price though. There's a couple of bargains I would say with phones, with the iPhone as well, by the way, just before I move on. The iPhone 11, there's been some good deals. But the other thing that I've seen a lot coming down, and it's something I'm seeing a lot, is hard drives. So we're seeing a lot of really good deals with solid state drives, from, you know, all the way from 256 up to 2 terabyte drives, NVMe drives, and standard SATA drives. And this is something that I've been looking at as well. Now, I'm the first to say that storage is not, I mean, talking about storage is not exciting, and it's not the most exciting thing to buy either. But if you don't have storage, whether it be in your phone or your camera or your PC or laptop, then you run into all kinds of problems. I mean, I'm see if I can get my window. I'll bring over my Samsung monitor. Have I got this set up? There. Can you see that? So this is my Samsung monitor, and you can see I'm recording right now. In fact, let me get myself back here. See if I can get myself back. Get a scene. Let's get myself back. There we go. I'm back in the game. So this is my Samsung. I've got two monitors here. This is my Samsung monitor. You can see I'm monitoring the stream just to make sure that connection and all that's good. But if I go down here, which you can't really see, but if I move it here, right, okay. This is what I'm trying to show you. Here, right. So this is, I've got a really kind of Frankenstein setup here with my storage. If I minimize that, I'll go out of the way. I've got a real Frankenstein setup here with my storage. I really do have a Frankenstein setup. I've got my main C drive, which is a 256 gigabyte, what's the name of it again? Not a SanDisk. Samsung Evo 960, I think that is Pro. But I've also got a 970 Evo Pro, which is a one terabyte. So that's the D drive. And I put games there. You can see I've got Apex, Call of Duty, Black Ops, and Modern Warfare, Warzone, etc. But I do my YouTube videos there as well, because I get read and write speeds up to like 2000 megabytes per second. Now, I've got other things here. I've got YouTube archives. I've got another drive which I connect as well. Like, I've got the Samsung T5, which I'll show you in a second as well. So the problem I've got is that you can probably kind of see it here. I mean, my archives, that's like a 0.5 terabyte NVMe SSD. That one's kind of full. My C drive only has 50 gigabytes. My D drive only has 300 gigabytes. And again, this is not exciting. That's Dropbox, which takes a little bit longer to load up. Yeah, that's it there. So again, this isn't very exciting to talk about. It really isn't exciting to talk about storage, but in this computer, I do need storage. And I've been looking at a lot of different things. I've been looking at, well, firstly, I need to add at least one new NVMe drive, a 2 terabyte drive, possibly even more. But I'm looking at all these other storages as well, like NAS drives and DAS drives, like network attached storage or direct attached storage. I've been looking at other things like this as well. So if you look on HotUki Deals, you'll see the Samsung T7. Now, this is a little portable drive like this. And that's the 1 terabyte version. It goes up to 2 terabytes. Hey, Ultra. Good to see you, mate. So the Samsung T7 there. Now, it's quite interesting because you can connect via a Type-A connection or you can connect via Type-C, like USB Type-C 3. Well, the T5 here is 3.1, that's 3.2. And basically, technical specifications aside, you can basically use this to transfer files at 1000 megabytes per second, which for an external drive is very, very impressive. Now, I've got the predecessor. This is Samsung T5. And I mean, just look at, it's focusing on it. There we go. Look at how small that is. I mean, comparison, my hand is tiny, absolutely tiny. So I've been using this for backup files as well. But again, I've got like 3 or 4 of these kind of drives hanging out my PC. I really should look at a different storage setup. But the Samsung T7 is actually tempting because, it's got pretty much much faster speeds. This is like 500 megabytes per second, roughly, give or take. They've effectively doubled the speed by moving from USB Type-C 3.1 to 3.2, and it's the same price. So the T7 here, again, if you're looking for a nice little portable drive, it's a good option. And the good thing about this is it will work with you. As long as you've got a modern laptop or PC that's got a Type-C connection, this will work with an Android phone, an Android tablet. It will work with iPad Pros. It will work with basically PC, laptops, phones, tablets, everything really. I can't speak highly enough about that drive just because of how great it's been, and I'm tempted to actually buy another one. Just for storage and additional storage as well. So there's definitely a lot of really good deals there. Hi, Tech, for your needs. You have the same one. Which one do you have, Tech? Samsung T7 is much fun. Is that the one you've got? The T7? So I've got the T5, and I honestly wasn't looking for a new version. I wasn't looking for another one because I'm happy with that one. But when I saw that they had the T7 out and it was twice as fast and you can get up to 2 terabytes and all that, I was thinking, yes, I might as well upgrade. I don't think this might have been available 2 terabytes. It might be. I might be wrong there. I'm not sure if it is. But it's been handy just for connecting it and, storing files and different things. I mean, to put it in perspective, this is fast enough to run games and run games well. And the Samsung T7 will be the same. T5, yeah, it's fantastic. It's such a handy wee drive. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I go through spells. I don't use it for like 3 weeks, but then I use it every other day transferring files. But looking on Black Friday and looking on HotUki Deals, etc., there's a lot of really good deals out there. Obviously, you can see the Samsung T7 there, and I'm talking about. But there's a lot of good deals. There's obviously deals on laptops as well, but certainly with solid state drives, there's some really good deals there. Hi, Lewis. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's better than saying tech for needs. Tech for your needs. 1 terabyte. Yeah, that's what I've got as well. So there's a lot of good deals with that. So whenever Black Friday comes along, I always start going down the rabbit hole of research and looking at reviews, written reviews, video reviews, and a lot of other things. And I have one of the other things I've been looking at. I have been looking at phones just because they always grab my attention, but I've also been looking at storage, and storage is something that it's weird. You've got so many different ways that you can manage your storage. Like even just looking at this, I could get for additional storage, I could add an NVMe drive, a larger one to my PC, or I could add a SATA drive, an M2 SATA drive, a 2.5 inch SATA drive, or I could go a 3.5 inch mechanical drive. And they've all got pros and cons as far as well, the ones that have got less coins of more expensive, you know, like the NVMe drives. But there's only so many NVMe, like fast SSDs you can put into a system, normally 2 or 3. And after that, you need to kind of go to SATA drives and stuff. So there's a few different, you know, ways that you can set up external storage though. Royale Kludge. I've got no idea what that is. I can check that out. There's a few different things, a few different ways that you can go when it comes to external storage or internal storage. Basically, I've been thinking about NAS drives, right? So for those of you who don't know, NAS stands for Network Attached Storage. And the idea is you set it up with your home network and you can connect to it just like a normal drive from your phone, from your laptops, from your PC. And it's, you know, for your whole house effectively. And what you can do is you can set them up in RAID so that the drives are mirrored and you can store important files there, but you can do backups, you can do Plex encoding, you can do a lot of different things with it. For me, one of the main things I was thinking about for a NAS drive was putting all my Dropbox files there just because it's easier to manage than using the Dropbox app. And it means I'm not copying the files over 3 computers. I've got the cloud mounter thing there, but it can be slow sometimes. But also I wanted to get something that I can take system images of my computers. So for those of you who don't know, with Windows, you've got the system image system, which kind of works a similar way to Apple's Time Machine. And it means that if my PC dies or the hard drive dies, I don't have to install everything again. I take the image back up, I restore the image in like an hour, and I'm good to go. Now, for a lot of people, it's not worth you doing that. I mean, it's not worth me doing that for some laptops that I've got because there's not much on it. But with this kind of setup, like here where it's for work and it's for YouTube and for everything, losing a hard drive could be terrible. Absolutely. I could lose about 3 or 4 days of my time. So I've been looking at all these different storage options. The downside to NAS is that for a lot of the drives, you're talking about 100 megabytes per second to 200 megabytes per second for a transfer. Maybe you could go up a little bit higher than that, but the backup speeds and the transfer speeds aren't amazing. They're kind of the same as a mechanical drive, which isn't an issue if you're just accessing files and different things. But if you're doing a system image, the difference between 200 and a terabyte or 2 terabytes per second if you've got a Thunderbolt 3 connection, I mean, it means that the backups are going to take much, much longer. The drive that Ultra is talking about, the keyboard, the Royal Kludge, that's a really bizarre name. That's like the keyboard I've got, isn't it? That looks very like the one that I've got, the one that I reviewed. I've got it set up there. I stopped using it because I was using this so I can switch between devices. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. How much is it in Banggood? £62. Yeah, I assume it's cheaper on Banggood. Samsung 860 EVO 2 terabyte, £190 via Amazon. That's pretty good. I've got what is it? I've got a 4 terabyte SSD in my gaming laptop over there, and I think I paid like $350 or something like that. It was quite expensive at the time, but I wanted a ton of storage and I didn't want to have to do any upgrades for years. So, you know, somewhere I can store videos and games. You know, for a lot of situations, you're better going for the slow drive with increased storage because there's a lot of apps that don't take advantage of those faster speeds. We are starting to see though, with the faster systems, like, so for example, with the PlayStation 5 and with the Xbox One Series X, we're starting to see NVMe drives being used, and I think at least the one in the PlayStation, I think it's PCI Express 4, I think. Now previously, in the previous generation with the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, what you had was effectively a SATA connection, so even if you put an SSD, you'll get fast speeds, but you're kind of going to peak about 500 megabytes per second, but now you might see like 2,000, 2,500. And in a system like the PlayStation 5, that's been optimized for those higher speeds. But if you to put that into an older system, an older computer, you'd maybe not get that. It really does depend on the apps that you're using. Because I'm using video editing apps and different things like that, it does spike up and you can take advantage of that performance. But in other systems, you'll notice a little bit of a performance jump, but you might be as well doing what Ultra says and get the Evo, which is, I mean, I'm going to take a guess here that the transfer speeds on the 960 Evo are about 550 megabytes per second. That's what normally is with SATA, isn't it? Let's find out. I think about 500 or so. Specifications, what we got here? 520 for writing, 550 for reading. And really that's a limitation of a SATA connection for your hard drive. It's nothing really to do with the drive. I guess in theory, if you could connect that using a different connection system, not SATA, then there'd be a different bottleneck. I'm guessing, I don't know. I'm guessing that would be the case. But yeah, the Samsung Evo drives are pretty good. I'm trying to remember the one that I got. It might have been a Western Digital, the 4TB drive, but it basically looked like that. It was 4TB. And I'm thinking about that as well. I'm thinking maybe to get that, but the other option that I'm thinking about, in fact, I'll bring it up for you. The other option I'm thinking about is just getting some mechanical drives. Now, I kind of moved away from mechanical drives a few years ago because, one, because of the noise, and two, because of reliability. Hey, Toasted. Hey. So, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of moved away from mechanical drives. I'll search for this one. So, I moved away from mechanical drives in the past. One, because of noise, and two, because of reliability. And that's because I was, you know, the way that I looked at mechanical drives, I always used consumer level drives where I just got a regular mechanical drive. And even the ones that were marketed as being more reliable and all that, I did have some of them fail. But you've got some of the ones in the market like the Western Digital Red, and then these ones are quite well regarded, the Iron Wolf NAS. Now these are designed for NAS drives because these have got better endurance. So these are designed for example, CCTV monitoring, that are, you know, devices that are running 24 hours a day, constantly writing data to the drive. Now, I'm not sure about noise though. I think audio levels are going to be better than they were a few years ago, but in theory, they should be more reliable. But you can see there it's got a 3-year rescue service, and you know, some of these devices have got some of these drives have got 5-year warranties as well. So I've thought maybe that's the route to go down as well. Just get a mechanical drive set up directly attached, you know, inside the computer or on a backup drive, or I could go down the NAS route. But the idea being I'll get more storage, like £15 per terabyte, I think it is roughly just now. But we'll see. There's pros and cons. I don't know if the slower speeds is going to be annoying me. I've been good, Toasted. Yeah, I was on a rant there, which is why I didn't see your comment. But yeah, I've been good. I thought this was a very last minute, spur of the moment live stream just to catch up with people and just see how everyone was getting on and just chat about different things with Black Friday. Because this is the problem. Whenever Black Friday comes on, or whenever I'm doing a lot of research, I tend to have less time to do videos myself because I'm, you know, reading reviews and doing my homework, so to speak. But that's important. You know, it's important for me to know what I'm talking about before I talk about it. So what are you guys going for? I know you mentioned the keyboard there, Ultra. Is there anything else you guys are buying? I was talking a lot about solid state drives there. I know it's not the most exciting subject, but it is something which is completely restricting what I'm doing online, and I really do need more storage. And I don't even store a lot of files really, but just, you know, backup YouTube files and games, and you know, everything's just taking more storage. So I'm going to look into different options like that. The one thing I've not found though is I've not found a good NAS drive in the Black Friday sales yet. So I'll jump over, see if we can see anything. If there's anything you want me to check out, guys, just let me know. Okay, so we have a few Black Friday sales here. So that's the thing. There's been a few good options with the NAS drives. No problem, Toasted. There's been a few good options with the NAS drives, but you know, the problem with Black Friday is previously it was like 2 days of complete madness, but they're spanning it over 10 days now, which is great in some ways, but it also means that there's situations where you're kind of missing the deals, you know, because they passed you by. Like the Terra Master deal wasn't there yesterday. That wasn't there. 5 bay storage, Western Digital. So this is quite an interesting thing as well. You've got the SSK. This is maybe in photography it could be useful. It works as a Wi-Fi hotspot, and then you can connect it and transfer files. So a lot of cool things like that out as well. But for those of you who haven't really looked at NAS drives before, the big players really are Synology and QNAP, or QNAP. I assume that's how you pronounce it. Now, Western Digital are big as well. And from a price point of view, Western Digital are really, really competitive. You know, you get fantastic prices on them, but their software is probably not up to much. TerraMaster are a kind of a new player, and the prices of these are fantastic. I mean, this is a 5-bay NAS, 5-bay, so 5 hard drives you can put on this, and it's only £226 or 256 pounds. Again, I need to review this, but from a price point of view, TerraMaster seem to be pretty good. That, yeah, 200 megabytes per second. So, but it does look really good what you can do with all these things, and I need to look into this more. This looks like an option that I'd maybe consider, simply because I get 5 bays. It just opens up so many more options for you when you get 5 drives. You can, put things in RAID and all that. Catch up with the comments. I'm going to build my own gaming PC, but it'll take a lot of convincing to make my parents to say yes. What do you think your budget would be, Ultra? Hey Peter, I'm hoping Nvidia Shield drops in price. Yeah, it's interesting. I've saw it advertised in the past, and I've saw a lot of people talk about it. Like the Nvidia Shield, if I bring it up, the Nvidia Shield is still mentioned a lot, and Nvidia's updates for it have been amazing as far as software updates. With all of their Nvidia devices has been amazing. So this is the Shield TV, but they've got a few different things, haven't they? They've got a few different products still. Or is this the main one now that you're talking about? Because I know they had the Shield tablet and they had a few other things. I'm going to check what the price of this is in the UK. I will say, I mean, I kind of use about I use the, what do you call it? The Fire Stick. I use the Fire Stick downstairs, but I use the one that just plugs into the back. I don't have the cube. And I've always thought it was okay, to be honest, but I've heard a lot of people talking about how good the Shield is, and there's a few other solutions out there that look good. The Shield Pro. Want the Pro? Now I'll check that out. Ultra, our NAS drive's good to store games on there. It's not something I've tried myself. Theoretically, yes. Yes, in theory, yes. In reality, no. Because you're going to be limited by the speed of your network. And I mean, the right setup, the right NAS drive, the right mechanical drives and things like that, it probably is fast enough for certain games. Again, as you saw there, the read speeds can be about 200 megabytes per second, and that's not too bad. You can run most games with that, but moving forward, we're seeing a lot of games they want you to use an SSD, they want you to use an NVMe for performance. I'd say for most games it would be okay, to be honest, but the issue wouldn't be the read-write speeds from the drive itself. It would be maybe your connection to the network. I don't know. The answer is I don't know, if I'm honest. I mean, NAS drives understand the principle, understand what they're all about, but as far as actually testing them and seeing what they're like and what the limitations are, I don't know. I'll need to look more into that myself. It would be good if you could do that. £500, £600. Okay, £500, £600. I'll get the Amazon Echo Dot. Right, I'll look at that comment just now. I just want to look at the Shield Pro that Peter was talking about. So it's £200 there. It's got the Netflix button. HDMI in the back, USB, 2 USB ports. Was that gigabit Ethernet in the power? How's my aim? So it's got a 16 gigabyte hard drive, 3 gigabytes of memory. Oh, it's max. Oh, that's what it's got. So 3 gigabyte. Must be 3 1 gigabyte memory slots, or maybe one memory module. I don't know. Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, upscaling. So is this really just for playing 4K videos? Is that what people buy this for? I assume performance is just so much better. Oh, you can run games through it as well. Obviously, I assume a lot of people do that as well. As far as your budget goes, Ultra, £600. I mean, again, it's so difficult to tell someone when they say, can I get this for this amount of money? And it really does depend on, if you're buying a PC or a laptop, it depends on the applications that you're going to use. And if you're buying it to play games, it depends on the games that you're going to use. I mean, you could buy an old Raspberry Pi, one of these for £20, an older one, if you just want to play classic retro games. But if you're playing a modern game, you have to decide what games you're playing, but also what resolution and also what frame rate. And then you kind of have to coincide that with your budget and also the monitor that you're buying and all that as well. So I don't know, like, do you play Fortnite? Do you play Apex? And it's difficult though sometimes. I think if you're starting from scratch, it can be difficult because you then have to look at examples online as far as this can play this PC at a certain rate. Like, for example, I've got a 1080 Ti and I know I can get certain games to 1440p, certain games to 4K, etc. So I've kind of got a benchmark of what games require what amount of power for a certain resolution or frame rate. But if you're buying or building your PC for the first time, you've maybe not got a point of reference. So there are websites out there and there are PC companies that will say, we'll build it and it can do this at 1080p or this at 1440p. Hey Ed. Yeah, I'm good, mate. How's things? Leeds are doing well. What I would say, Ultra, is at the £600 budget, I would say you would get a good 144 Hz 1080p monitor. You could maybe stretch to a 1440p, but really at that price range, you'd really be hoping to get a good 1080p system with that. And to be honest, £400 left or £450 left after your monitor, it's not a huge amount of money. I mean, it is a lot of money, but in the PC building world, it's, I don't know. The games I'll play is Apex, Fortnite, Warzone, right, okay, Counter-Strike. Kind of similar games to me, to be honest. Yeah, good to see it. I mean, I never planned this. Like, if I was a smart YouTuber and I was good at marketing, I probably should have scheduled this a couple of days in advance, told people I'm going to do a live stream, guys. This is when I'm doing it. But I was just sitting here and I thought I'll do a live stream and catch up with people and see how everyone is. And when I do it, like, I like the live streams like this as well, where I don't know what I'm going to talk about and I just go off on a tangent and we just catch up. Because I don't always get the chance to do that when I'm talking about, you know, a review thing or a specific thing. Right, I'll see if I can help Ultra here a little bit. I want to do a little bit of investigation just to see what £600 gets you. All right, okay, Ed. So I'll explain that now. Actually, I can explain that. So I didn't delete it, Ed. The video still is there. So what happened was I did a video thing with my phone, right? And I've recorded it now. What I didn't put on these lights, my proper lights. I just had my because the reason is I'll kind of work backwards. So this is the iPhone 12 mini. I don't have a microphone connection adapter for this yet. I'm going to buy one, right? Because this doesn't have a headphone jack, and I have a Type-C adapter, but I don't have a Lightning adapter. So I wanted to do a video showing the iPhone 12 mini, but also testing the mics. The problem is if I put all my setup on with the lights and everything on, it gets a little bit noisy, and then all of a sudden the audio's bad. So I thought I'll do it without the audio. I'll put on the light above. It was a complete mess. Without the proper lights on, with that light up there, the video quality looked horrific. It looked horrific. But what I didn't know, I uploaded it to YouTube via the phone, and I thought it would let me, you know, put it as unlisted, and then I could schedule it for publication the next day. Let me check everything was okay. It just published it immediately, so I had to undo it. And then when I looked at the video sucked, man. The video really did suck. So I'll show you what I did, and I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. So Kevin Muldoon, like, I'm live just now. So the video I'm talking about, if you go to my channel and you go to community, you will see the video, and I've basically got an explanation here as to what happened. About it looks terrible, so I didn't want to put it in my main channel. So the reason I didn't want to do it on the main channel is it's the kind of video that you could possibly lose subscribers. It was that bad, and I didn't want to alienate people with a crap video. So I thought, you know what, anyone who checks the community tab can check it out. And I think 2 people have checked it out. No, absolutely no one has seen it. So yeah, I mean, this is what we got here, 720p. Put it up to, well, I can put up to 4K apparently. Hopefully that's not going to affect the stream, but yeah. So you can see it's all wobbly and it's just warping. I mean, this is the problem with smartphones in general, that if you're not outside and you don't have natural light, the footage is always really, really bad. And I didn't have it on a tripod. I was using it with my phone here. You can still watch it. You can still watch it though. So you just have to, it says unlisted, but it's not private, so you can still see it. Just go to my community page. You'll be able to watch it. I'll do a proper video with that later, but yeah, it was bad lighting, it was wobbly, and I thought, you know what, I'll leave this for anyone who's interested. But YouTube live streams from phones never really save properly. Yeah, they don't. The problem I had as well, it was like the colours were all messed up and everything as well. It was all messed up when I did it directly, so I had to put it into my PC and then edit it and upload it as well. So definitely problems for me to address here as far as recording from this or live streaming. Ultra, I can go down a much cheaper route and get a Dell Optiplex and just upgrade the RAM, PSU, GPU, and maybe the case. I would say that's not the way to go. Ultra. The reason being, Dell, I think, is that the smaller computers? I think that's the small computers. So the reason being that Dell's Optiplex range, they've got these kind of little mini computers, and if you buy this used, you can see a lot of bargains for these used and stuff. Now, there are some good deals here. I've looked at this in the past though, and the problem is really you're building upon something that wasn't designed really for gaming. So you've got a motherboard that wasn't really designed for gaming, or a CPU, whatever. And you might find you've not got the connections that you want. You might find you've not, some of these have still got like VGA ports and stuff like that in the back. I mean, look at that, VGA. You've got the old PS2 connection for your, which is not too bad if you need to connect a mouse, but it's one of those things. You're buying an old system, a really old system. It wasn't designed for gaming, and then you need to try and patch it up with the latest stuff, and you might run into problems. I don't know that, there's some Dell systems as well, certainly the smaller ones, where they've got their own proprietary motherboard where it's not a standard size, so then you're limited with what graphics cards you can put in as well. I wouldn't go down that route. I really wouldn't. That's my recommendation. Will you be recording a proper video in your setup desk office? Yes, I will. I kind of explain it in that video, Ed. The reason I haven't just now is because it's still a mess as far as I've got stuff lying about here because I've not got storage. I need to buy storage shelving down the side because I've run out of space effectively to keep stuff. So I need to do that. I need to tidy things up, and I'm still not 100% happy with it right now. Like right now I've got the camera and it shakes. Can you feel it? Can you see it there? When I touch the table, it shakes a little bit because I've got it all attached to the desk, which is good in a way, but in other ways it's not. So there's a few things I'm always tweaking things. So every few months I start moving things around and trying to improve things. But eyes on fire, talk slowly. Dude, it's hard to understand you. Where are you from? Where are you from? This is how people talk when they talk normally. I can buy used parts from CEX. You can, Ultra. You're from Leeds, Ed. Well, you're a Leeds supporter, so I assume you're from Leeds or that kind of area. Sheffield, Leeds, that kind of area. Yorkshire. My wife's from Lancashire. Whenever I try to do a Lancashire accent, it comes out as a kind of Yorkshire accent. So, Ultra, as far as buying a used PC on Leeds here, as far as buying a used computer, I would say I wouldn't go down the used parts route unless you've got experience of building PCs. Lancashire, yeah. Yeah, she's kind of from up Burnley way, that kind of direction. Yeah, I think if you've not got experience, a bit of rivalry there. I would say Ultra, and if anyone else is watching and I assume they've got the same advice for you, Ultra, but I would say that if you've built a PC before and you've got experience with building a PC before, then you'll be fine. But I think if you're building a gaming PC, certainly for your first or second time, you could save money by buying an old system and then buying the parts that you need to improve it. But if you don't have experience in those areas and I mean, building a PC isn't hard. I just think that if you're building a PC for the first time, you either get it built for you or you do it from scratch yourself so that you know what, whatever part, works and all that. The problem that you could run into, and the basically worst case scenario for you would be, you would buy a system and it works, and then you would buy the GPU or a higher powered PSU, or you change the CPU. I'll tell you right now, whenever you replace the CPU in a system, unless you can sell the CPU, you've got a really good price. You kind of lose all savings from doing the upgrade. But the problem you've got is you would introduce all these different parts, and unless you've got spare parts, or you know how to test these parts for working, if it doesn't work, you're not going to be sure, is it the GPU that's broke, or is it the memory that's broke, is it the motherboard that's not working? I don't know. I don't know your experiences building PCs, Ultra, but I would say that I would either go down the route where you buy a second-hand gaming system or a second-hand good PC that's all set up, or you go new, or you build a PC from scratch. You'll save the most money by buying used. But if you want a new system, it is cheaper to build it yourself. But if you've not done it before, and you might run into problems with the BIOS and different things, and you don't know how to fix it, then I don't know. What I'll do though is we'll look at PC specialists, for example. There's a few companies in the UK that do PCs, like brand new PCs, and you'll see them at a budget end. Now, the good things about these are, if I get it here, look for a gaming PC. There we go, gaming PCs. Now, the good thing about companies like this in Scan and different things is that they'll give you an idea of what they're, what they can do and what they can't do. The other thing is, as well, is, hey Sam, the other thing about all this kind of stuff as well is that if you do buy it from a company where it's all built up, you'll get a warranty. And I'm talking from experience, Ultra, is that if you buy a lot of different parts and you don't have experience of going, well, that must be the BIOS, I need to update it, or that might not be that, or that might not be that, I need to update the drivers. If you don't have experience of putting it all together, and I'm not saying it's hard, I'm just saying if you've not done it before, buying something used and then patching it up with all the different parts, you could run into problems. And the problem is, in that situation, is they're going to say, well, no, it does work. You have to prove that it doesn't work, or they're not going to give you a warranty. And at a certain point, it's better just to buy it or build it yourself. On PC Specialist, the cheapest one they've got there is the Vortex Elite, which has got an i3 9100, 8 gigabytes of memory, 4 gigabytes graphics card. So things like in this situation, you can upgrade the memory and all that fairly cheap. You can upgrade the hard drive. You can do that. Like what you can do with a lot of companies as well is you can buy the bare bones of the computer, and then upgrade your memory, and then upgrade the hard drive perhaps. But I wouldn't start upgrading the CPU and if you haven't done that, because you need to remove, apply thermal paste to make sure it's all okay. None of it's hard. I'm just saying, if you've not done it before and you're trying to put all these pieces together and it's used, because used throws in another question mark when you put it all together. I need at least 16 gigabyte. You're going to stream and game at the same time. I hate to break it to you, mate. You ain't going to game and stream with a £600 computer. Not well. You're really not. I'm sorry, but you might be able to do it at a very low resolution, 720p with really bad frame rate and a really basic game. Honestly, even see a few years ago, I had two 1080 Ti's, two of them in the PC, the one I've got down there. I think I had 32 or 64 gigabytes of RAM, and I struggled to stream at 1080p. The game was jumping around the place. It just couldn't do it. You need a 2 PC setup. I use my gaming laptop and I stream, I play games on that, and then I use this PC, the one that I'm sitting at that's underneath the desk. But I use that one to stream. Really, I think people underestimate how much power you need to actually stream and record and play games and all that in the one computer. Sam, I used to buy off-the-shelf PCs like HP and Dell before I realised I was paying through the nose for poor specs. I think those kind of refurbished basic PCs are fine if you need to browse the web, Microsoft Word, Dropbox, basic office productivity. the thing is, I think a lot of people in the market buy powerful computers when they don't need it. You know, if you're not playing games or doing kind of video stuff like me or any kind of, you know, you're not using an application that requires a lot of power, then you really should just get a very basic computer. Just something that, you know, can play 4K videos on Netflix, and you can do that with a £200 Celeron mini PC now. So, you know, I did the same thing before in the past. I used to look at Dell, like Optiplex and all these other, you know, old servers and different things. I think, oh, this is a bargain, but there's no room to upgrade some of these. You know, if a computer is 10 years old, it's hard to even get the parts sometimes. But that's fine. If you have basic requirements, that's fine. And I do think for many people, you should just go for, you know, a basic laptop or a basic computer. But it really does depend. It really does depend on what your use case is and what you need it for. I'll be looking to upgrade my PC next year, and yeah, that's a rabbit hole. That's a, you know, something I need to dive down into later on. I don't know how much to spend though. I mean, it's one of those things. I don't want to underspend and then it's only a minor sidestep or upgrade that will only do me for another few years. I would like to kind of jump up to you know, performance quite a lot. I mean, maybe I'll spend $1,000 on a graphics card and then spend $3,000 on a PC or something, which is a lot. But Ultra, honestly, you're in for a shock if you think you can game and stream from a £400 or £500, £600 PC. You bought a Noct Skill. Oh, those are cool. I like those. 32 gigabytes of memory, 2 terabyte SSD, and it cost me £600, and it hangs in the back of the TV. Yeah, those are quite good. Those, what were the? So I think the original ones came with like 6700 HQ CPUs, if I remember right, something like that. Didn't it? It was like that, or 7700 HQ. You could get them with the bare bones, or you could get them with, you know, all spec'd up. That's a good price though for that kind of performance. That's pretty good, I would say. Especially with a 2 terabyte SSD, which I don't know if it's a SATA. Is it NVMe or is it an M2 SSD or is it a SATA? A SATA SSD is a little bit cheaper, obviously, but either way, it seems like a good deal. I did like those. I'll show this just for the benefit of anyone who's never seen this before. This is kind of what he's talking about, the Intel NUC. I don't know if that's the version that you've got. There's been a few variations of these over the years. This is the one I was thinking about, the Skull Canyon. There. Yeah. End of life. Yeah, that was the one I was thinking of. I don't know if that's the one you've got. Is the specs there? I don't know if the specs are there anymore. I think they're taken away from this page. Yeah, but those were cool little devices. Oh, there it's at the top. I was right. I actually got that right. 6770 HQ. Look at that. I remember, as I said, I did consider buying one of these at one point. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I did look at this at one point because I saw that they were selling used at a good price. M2. Oh, that's pretty decent. That's pretty cool. Iris Pro graphics. Yeah, there's a lot. I like the idea of the Iris Pro, but to be honest, I didn't really need to have something that portable. You know, I was happy having a bigger PC. In fact, I was talking with David Harry about that in his YouTube channel, and I was talking about how I'd ideally like a bigger PC, one that's got even more PCI Express slots, you know, for video recording and for different things. It'd just be handy that you can put in more accessories. Oh, excuse me, more accessories, more everything really. Because at the moment I've got all my X slots, my X16, my X8, and my X4 are all filled up. So I need to juggle things around to put in a capture card. But yeah, there's a lot of cool PCs out in the market. There's definitely I've not really looked at laptops, but there's definitely a deal coming up from Dell. Dell always have a sale at this time of the year. In fact, see what it's actually 1 year since I got my gaming laptop and my business laptop from Dell. They do these deals for about a week or two, I think. And what have they got here? Not a machine. So you've got some good deals. I mean, I remember because I looked at the Dell website daily last year, like a year, because I bought two laptops. I bought my gaming laptop, which is still fine, my business XPS kind of style laptop, and there were, it depends on the model, but there was some situations where the outlet had the better bargains. If we were going for a business thing, but then if you were going for an XPS laptop, I was looking at the outlet. I was looking at buying used for my XPS 13, but then the prices came down on the XPS 13 so quickly for that I, decided to go for it brand new. I can't see whether. Oh, this is the future. I've not looked at this for a while. That's what I'm looking for at the top of the page. Go to offers, right? I just could, for the life of me, I could not see that. So you've got the deals here. Yeah, so a lot of these laptops like £100 off, £150 off, £200 off. That's another thing I would recommend, Ultra, is the Dell outlet. That's something that I'd maybe check out. I've always been happy with the Dell outlet as far as when you've bought something, the condition is always kind of what they say. I'm not a hardcore gamer or a power user. I just wanted something that's packed a punch. I rip CDs and FLAC and DVDs. Right. Symbology. Symbology? Is that Synology? You talk about the NAS server? What do you think of the Ryzen 5 5600X beating the i9 10008? Yeah, I've been paying attention to the Ryzen chips. I'll probably go the AMD route. I think I'll go. It's kind of swinging back and forth with AMD and Intel, and now you've got Apple with their M1 chip as well. As far as the coil whine goes, yeah, I've got it a little bit, not too much, but I do have it. As far as normally my laptop is silent. It's only when you push it to 100%. So if you're really, like if I'm doing video editing, which I don't normally do on that laptop, but if you're doing video editing, or if you're doing software updates or something, the fans go crazy and it's the noisiest thing ever. So this is another thing to check out, Ultra. £300 CPU beating a 600. Yeah. I've saw some articles about it, Ultra, about the new Ryzen CPUs. I'll need to read more about it. The reason I've not been reading about it a lot is because I know that when I start, when I've got like $3-4 grand sitting to the side, I'm going to, be reading about these articles every single day. So I'm like, I don't want to sicken myself reading about them just now because I'll become knowledgeable about it and then I can't even buy anything. So there's a lot of gaming PCs and gaming laptops in the Dell outlet. See, that was gaming PCs. That was coming up. Oh well, I thought that'd be PCs. I'll sort by low. M17R3. Oh, some good deals on these as well. So this is something else I would check out as well. You sometimes get some of the lower price, like the G range of gaming laptops from Dell as well. Some of these are actually worth checking out, certainly on Black Friday. And so you've got the Optiplex there. Again, because these ones weren't designed for gaming in the first place, I don't know. I'd be more inclined to buy one of the models that had a dedicated graphics card already. But I don't know. It depends on the system. This is the thing. It's hard to say buy this or don't buy this depending on, you have to look at the specific model. Hi, Lewis, wasn't it? Lewis, I got your name right. Beside Apple laptops, what is a good Windows laptop for editing content creation? Again, it seems like a cop-out, but it does depend on what you're doing. Because I know myself, I could do if I do a 1080p video, and I record a 1080p video, then I could edit that on perhaps even my XPS 13, but certainly on a more basic laptop, I could do 1080p. But if you're recording at 4K, then 4K, you're going to have to increase the resources by a significant amount. But it's not just what you're creating, are you doing, it depends on the video application that you're using, and it depends on the type of video that you're doing as well. There's a lot of different factors to consider. Do you think Apple's early M1 chips are rousing folk with their impressive performance results? Do you think it's put the cat among the pigeons with Intel and I assume it's Intel and AMD? Do you think they need to up their game? Um, I mean, I've been looking closely at what people have been saying about the M1. In some respects, it's quite early days because in order to really test the M1 chip properly, you'll need all major companies to realize that it's not just Intel and AMD you need to optimize things for now. You need to optimize for the Apple M1 chip, and I'm sure they will because of how many computers Apple sell. And I know that Adobe and a lot of other big companies are like, we need to optimize for the M1. From what I've seen, for other people have said, is that when software, whether it be a game or an application, when it has been optimized for the Apple M1 chip, when it has been optimized, then I'll just bring it up here. When it has been optimized for this, then it's astounding what this chip can do. And this chip is getting, what is it, like 20 hours battery life on laptops, or around that mark, 15 hours plus. If you can get that kind of performance in a laptop and still outperform older Macs, I mean, this chip, in many situations with Final Cut Pro, etc., this is getting better results or close to similar results with older MacBook 13 and 16 inches and older MacBooks that were very, very powerful, and it's got the endurance as well. So it does seem like when this is optimized, when software is optimized for this chip, this seems incredible. But when the app is not optimized, it's not as good. So it's kind of early days, and I think that when we see this introduced into the full size MacBook Pro 16 or the full size iMac and all that, and we start seeing all these applications optimized for it, it will be a good comparison to see how it does. For me, I do give Apple a lot of crap because their marketing, the way they market stuff, is absolute BS. They're very misleading how they market their products and how they purposely forget to tell people things, or they're being very sneaky with the truth, a bit flexible with the truth. But I mean, I have got no attachment to Intel, AMD, or M1. I will happily switch my computer every year to the company that gives me the best results, the best bang for my buck. So for me, if the M1 performs well, great, and that's the one I'll buy. No problem, Ultra. And it runs a cool. Yeah, I mean, so far the results look really good, Sam. Thanks, Ultra. I'll speak to you soon. I think what you said is right, though, Sam. I think as far as what was your comment? Was it about cat among the pigeons? Or all right. Do you think they need to up their game? No, I don't think they need to up their game, but I think this is good. It's kind of like everyone keeps swinging back and forth. I mean, if you look over the last 10 years, Intel have got away with murder with the prices they've charged with their chips and stuff, because AMD weren't really there. And then when AMD came back into the game, they've released all these Ryzen products and all the Threadripper CPUs, and those things were just blowing Intel computers out the market as far as 500 CPU versus £500 CPU. And Intel have had to respond in kind by dropping their prices and offer more performance from their chips. Competition is good. This is the thing. Competition is good. I understand people like a certain thing and people get tied to a certain ecosystem, but I don't understand this brand loyalty to a particular chip maker or a particular laptop company or whatever, even when the company's screwing you on price or features or support or whatever. And yeah, in that regard, I'm all for competition. So I'm hoping the M1 does perform well. And if it does, maybe we'll see Intel and AMD, maybe they'll drop the prices, or maybe they'll come out with something even better. But for me, it's all good. It's all good. Seeing this kind of thing, even if it's not perfect, seeing Apple come out with something like this, and they probably stretched the truth a little bit with what it can do, but the results are positive. So I'm all for it. I think it's good. And I'm looking forward to seeing how things move forward in the future and how they tweak applications. Certainly, if you buy this right now, and you buy a Mac Mini or you buy the MacBook 13, what was the other one, the MacBook Air? If you buy one of these devices, you're going to get a really good device. But certainly, at least for the first 6 months or so, you are a guinea pig for Apple. in so much as, you know, obviously they'll optimize their own apps, but third-party apps and maybe apps that you rely on, they're not going to perform as they should. Certainly not what you would expect from other things. But by the looks of it, for the apps that have been optimized, they're smashing it out of the park. I let the tech do the talking. My friend's slogan for his channel. Yeah, it is. I mean, I think we've all got brands that we like, and we've all got. I mean, I wouldn't say I was a Sony fanboy, but I've always liked Sony's cameras. But I've got two Sony cameras there, but I've got a Fujifilm camera there, and I've had GoPros, and I've had lots of different cameras. I've had Canon, I've had different things, and I don't know. I mean, you do get used to a certain user system or a certain menu system, and you have to retrain yourself. I mean, even me going back to an iPhone, I'm using it. I'm like, oh, why does it do this? This is annoying the hell out of me. But I need to spend time to let those things get away and refamiliarize myself with the operating system. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely some things about this that annoy me just going back to iOS, but certainly in my position as well, I think it's important for me not to be in one camp and be a fanboy. I think it's important to take a step back and just look at the bigger picture. As cheesy as that sounds. I always went for Intel on a laptop because they run cooler than AMD. And I've stepped up for the desktop with the Ryzen chips. Apple, I use the phone and the iPad, but just not drawn to the computers. I mean, I've got an iPad here, and I came from an Android tablet. But I loved the Android tablet. I did, but I sold it, and I bought an old iPad Pro, and I've been happy with that. I mean, there's some things with that I really love, as far as the quad speakers are amazing and all that. And the speakers on the iPhone 12 are fantastic, really good stereo speakers. But there's other things about the user system. It's just annoying the way that they do things, or there's not as much control as I'm used to. But I was talking to a friend of mine, my wife's sister's man, Matt, and he kind of had the counter argument to me, and he said that he likes the fact with the iPhone he doesn't have to mess with anything, he doesn't have to set up. He likes the fact it just works. So, you know, it depends on your perspective. I had a 27-inch iMac for years, and I loved it. But every single day I switched from the iMac to sitting with a Windows laptop at night. And, you know, going between the two systems, there was things I liked about with it, you know, I loved with the Mac. There was things I loved with Windows, and there was lots of little things that I didn't like with both systems. But I think Windows is quite a refined system now. We had a rough ride there. You know, we had Windows ME and Windows 2000 and all those dodgy versions of Windows for a few years, but I think Windows is quite good now. Tablet iPad Pro 2020. Yeah, I've had a look at the iPad Pros. I've got the iPad Pro here, and I really just use it for Netflix and browsing the web. And I really can't justify buying one just now because I don't need it for anything. You know, and I don't know, maybe that's just the way my brain works. I try to look at, whenever I buy tech, it's fixing a problem. So if I buy a camera with it, you know, if it's got higher resolution, it's because I want that higher resolution, or a new audio interface because it improves the audio, or anything. I'm looking to improve a recording situation or address a problem that I've got. But I really don't have any problems with this, other than it being old and maybe the battery life isn't great. But I can't see any reason for me to use a newer iPad Pro, not at this time anyway. What I would say though is, I mean, I've seen a lot of YouTubers and a lot of Apple customers, and they will say the iPad Pro is amazing, it can do everything, but it can't really. I mean, it can do video editing and basic things, but you've still got a tablet, it's still a touch screen. And I know you can connect a mouse now, and the lines are kind of blurred between a tablet and a laptop sometimes, but I don't think there's any replacement to Linux or Mac OS or Windows as far as being a fully functional computer if you need to do work. But again, it depends what you're doing. You know, what I call work is not work to someone else. Someone else, you know, to work for them might be Zoom meetings all day and emails. You know what I mean? So the iPad Pro is perfect. So it really does depend what you're doing. Again, it comes down to what applications you're using and, you know, what you're using it for. There's definitely, you know, some good deals though. I mean, I was looking, I don't know if there was a deal with iPad. I saw some tablets were down with the Samsung Galaxy range. But again, remind me what you've been buying, guys. I've been looking on Hot UK deals to see what the bargains were. I mean, look at that. Smart 4K TV, £349. That's insane. So cheap. Some really good deals out there. Look at this Lego truck. You do. I mean, again, with all this kind of stuff with Black Friday and all that, it's only a deal if you need it. You know, if you need something, if it's something you want to buy, it's a deal. And I've been trying to pay attention to the NAS drives and different things that I need. No worries, Lewis. Catch you there. I've been paying attention to the NAS drives and different things just because that's what I need. But it's very easy to get drawn into this Black Friday thing and buy something because it's cheap. But if you're not going to use it, I don't know. But then at the top there, we've got the Xiaomi Mi 10 Lite. Comes with a smart band and all that as well. Some really good deals from Xiaomi. I keep going back to Xiaomi or Xiaomi. How do you pronounce it? Xiaomi. I think they're. I think in general that, you know, I've always found they're quite good with updates, but just the pricing, the fact you're paying half or even a third of what you're paying with other companies, it's just great value. So I think I'll tie it up here, guys. I've been rattling on for what, an hour 10 minutes now. Synology is really good. So, well, that I kind of touched upon this earlier, Sam. So, were you on there? I'm not sure if you're watching then. So, from what, again, I've not used a NAS, like I've seen a NAS drive in action, but I've not used it myself. But from what I've seen and what I've been reading online, Synology seems to be the best when it comes to software. So as far as, you know, whether it be backing up your hard drive or Plex or whatever, Synology seems to be the best. But QNAP, is it QNAP or QNAP? I don't know how you pronounce it, QNAP. With them, they seem to be a little bit further ahead with hardware. So you'll see, like, for example, if you look at the product range of Synology and then you look at it with QNAP, I still don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but with QNAP, you'll see a lot more of their NAS systems that have got 10 gigabit Ethernet. So they've got 10 times faster connection. And obviously you're still going to be limited by the hard drives and stuff, but from a network connection point of view, QNAP seems to be a little bit ahead of the game. So you'll get cheaper devices that have got better features hardware-wise. So from a value point of view, if you're looking best bang for your buck, QNAP's a little bit better than Synology. But Synology have got the better software and the better ecosystem. That's what I've seen. I mean, again, this will come down to a preference thing. There's probably people watching this or will watch this. Maybe they've got a QNAP and they think it's the opposite way around. But the general consensus I've seen is that QNAP is more bang for your buck for hardware, but the software just isn't as good. Now, the other ones that you'll see a lot, you've got Synology there, but the other ones you'll see is TerraMaster and you'll see Western Digital. And obviously with Western Digital, they're going to put their Western Digital drives in, which aren't as good as, you know, some of the other drives in the market. TerraMaster seems like fantastic value as well. I mean, the thing that caught my attention was the Black Friday week. They've got a 5-bay one, a 5-bay drive. Is it that one? No, that's 2-bay. They had there it's there. 5-bay drive for £256. I mean, yes, their software might not be as good as QNAP or Synology, but, you know, if you look at the equivalent price of a 5-bay quad-core Synology, like, I'll do it now actually, 5-bay, quad. If you look at that from Synology or something like that, I might as well just type it. In fact, there was one from QNAP. That's a different one. If you look at it from Synology, it's going to be hundreds more, if I can spell. I can't spell. So, Synology, where is it? There. So there's a 4-bay one from Synology, 518. Now, obviously, I've not looked at the specifications yet. I'm sure if I looked at specs for specs there, the Synology one's got, you know, better connections. Maybe it's got SSD for cache and all that. But the TerraMaster ones for a 5-bay enclosure, that seems really cheap. You know, it does seem, like, from a hardware point of view anyway, software probably isn't there. I have 8 bays on my disk station for security. It's phenomenal. It's about the data, and you want something that will keep your data safe, even when it comes to drive failures. What kind of drives are you using, Sam? I can actually, I'm glad you're on, because I've got some things I could ask you. What kind of drives do you put in them? So, to go back to what I was saying about the QNAP versus Synology thing, one of the things I saw was that I'm looking to do image backups. So I want to have an image backup of this PC. If a drive fails, if anything goes wrong, an application crashes the system, I can get back online in like an hour or two. Just boot up the image to a new drive or whatever, and I'm back online. And to me, sounds cheesy, but time is money. I don't want to spend 4 days trying to recover everything, install everything. I want to be back up and running as soon as possible. Now, what I saw was that with Synology, when you do an image backup through Windows, you can restore that to any drive in any setup, and you can restore the drive to any other Synology NAS system. But apparently with QNAP, now I don't know if this is the case now, but I read a comment saying that with QNAP, certainly in the past, hopefully not now, but in the past, with QNAP, you could only restore those drives to another QNAP system, which basically meant that with Synology, from what I've read, with a Synology hard drive, you could potentially take the drive and put it into a different NAS and it will work. But with QNAP, you have to put it into another QNAP drive, essentially tying you into their ecosystem and kind of restricting you what you do. Again, I don't know if that's the case now. Things are always changing. 3 terabyte Western Digital drive, 5 out of 8 bays populated. I can suffer 2 drive failures and my data will still be available. So how have you got that set up? Have you got? I know there's different types of RAID. RAID was it 0, 1, 2 and different things. I mean, I said this earlier, but from a value point of view, it's very hard to see past the Western Digital solutions. So you've got a 16 terabyte one there. If you put it in RAID or whatever, you mirror the drives, you're going to get 8 terabytes each, maybe 7.5 when you get all the software out of the way. For 670, it's not too bad. I mean, I'd have to compare prices, but the problem I have with Western Digital is that I think Synology and QNAP are maybe, I guess you could call true NAS systems. I'm not sure if you, I mean, I don't know how it works with the TerraMaster or the Western Digital. I don't know if you can put on free NAS or true NAS. And these are things that I've thought about as well. Just, strapping, I've got a couple of extra drives here to get here. So I've got a couple of older there's a Western Digital and Ultra Passport. I've got 2 of those, and I've got another miscellaneous hard drive in there as well. This is an enclosure, which is quite handy actually if you ever need to, for example, take out your drive from your PlayStation connected to your computer. So I've got a couple of old drives like that, and I thought, well, I could just strap them to a Raspberry Pi and just set up true NAS or free NAS. But I think performance would be an issue, plus it's not practical when you're talking about a lot of storage. It's not like I'm going to strap 16 terabyte mechanical drives to a Raspberry Pi. A lot of people did things like that and just created cases, but with these I thought maybe for a little system I could just put on free NAS with 1 drive and just set up automatic Windows backups and just get it sitting on top like that. I don't know how effective that would be, but I know it's one of those things with the Raspberry Pi. You can do things with free NAS and true NAS and set up all these weird backup systems and access files, and you can use it as a file server, even for Dropbox or anything. And I thought about that, even just putting all my Dropbox files onto a hard drive and sticking it to this. And it means that I don't have to sync the files to 3 different computers. I can just do it to this and access it through the network. I think that would be quite a good use case. But for, when you're talking about 16 terabyte of storage or 32 or more, it's not going to work really. This is why you've got a quad core system with 10 gigabyte or 16 gigabyte of RAM, sorry. So, I don't know. I mean, I've been going back and forth. Now, one of the other things I've thought about was don't use a NAS for backups, just use a directly attached drive, which will be cheaper, but potentially faster. There's Thunderbolt storage systems. See if I can show you an example. I can't find it now. Thunderbolt 3 drive. See if I can find it. So there's Thunderbolt drives out there. You get ones from Western Digital as well, like the God, the search is terrible. There's ones like the G drive, etc., where you will get Thunderbolt 3 connections, and that's another option as well. You'll set up a backup system, but it goes through Thunderbolt 3, so you're not limited with a NAS drive like 200 megabytes per second directly to the computer connected. I could get 1000, 2000, or depending on what drive I attached. I don't know. I'm really going back and forth with all this, and I'm changing my mind every single hour, depending on what product I see and what deals are available. Several raids available. I'll tell you what about each raid offers. I went with Synology because it offered more data security, and then more drives can fail, but data be safe. Right? That's a good idea. I think the way that I'll be using this data failure is less of an issue because, well, I don't know. I mean, the idea would be that I would have it set up as RAID so that I'll do image backups, and then in theory, I think the image backups will then sync from one drive to the next drive. So I've got it in two different locations. So that the chance of my computer failing from an update or a power surge or anything like that, and the drive failing on both of those image backups, I would say is very, very slim. Very slim. I guess it could happen with a surge. And the Synology, you get 4 1 gig Ethernet ports. Right, okay. Well, I mean, for my home network, if I sat it downstairs, I could run all these different, I could run 4 different gigabit Ethernet cables to the back of the Synology NAS. Because I've got Cat5e, but Cat5e, although it's normally quoted as 1 gigabit, you can actually get 10 gigabit over, is it less than 30 meters? Under short distances like home networking, you can actually get faster speeds than that. So, I don't know, it's an interesting subject. It's something I need to learn more about. But it's one of those things, I think you just have to buy one and then test it and use it. And once you've used one for a while, you'll realise what you like and what you don't like. There doesn't seem to be as many bargains with Synology as compared to TerraMaster or Western Digital. Certainly in the Black Friday sales, you'll see the Western Digital and the TerraMaster on sale. But I've been checking this every day just to see if any other bargains come up, any other NAS drives or whatever come up. Yeah, there's different ones every day. I've not seen a Synology one yet. Western Digital. Yota Master. All right, that's just, well. This is another thing. This is another thing I can do as well, just from a storage point of view. You get these hard drive enclosures. Just put in 4 hard drives and just connect it with USB 3.0, and 4 times 16 terabyte 4B HDD enclosure. Yeah, there's things like that. You could just throw in a couple of hard drives and then just connect it to your computer as storage. And because it's not inside my PC. Like one of the reasons I didn't want to get a mechanical drive is when you're recording, they're a little bit noisier. It's just a little bit more noise in the room. But I think it'd be a little bit, I think if I put it either in the wardrobe or I put it down, somewhere else, it wouldn't be as an issue. It wouldn't be as much of an issue. I can stream a Blu-ray of 1 gigabit Ethernet port and have no buffering or anything. It's silky smooth. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'll need that as far as Plex encoding and downloading and things like that. I don't know. I don't think that's something I'll need. I don't think so anyway. That's weird. The stream's current bitrate is 10,000. Is higher than the recommended bitrate. We recommend you use a stream rate of 4,000. I've never seen that before. I'll show you what I'm reading there, by the way. Like, so Samsung are saying it's a little bit squashed here, but they're saying the stream's current bit. So they're suggesting a bit rate of 4,500, and I'm streaming at 10,000. So they're saying it's too high. Stream health is excellent. It's higher than excellent. We recommend that you use a stream bit rate. Okay. That's weird that they're doing the opposite. That YouTube's actually telling me stop uploading your video at 10,000, start doing it at 4,500. They want me to upload at a lower setting. That's weird. Anyway, I've not seen that before. But thanks for the thanks, Sam. Yeah, so I'll talk about this more in the future if I do get something. I've just been monitoring what's happening with Black Friday, and I think a part of me just thinks, well, why don't I use a Raspberry Pi, set up a hard drive? Because for Dropbox, I've only got 1 terabyte of files. And with Dropbox, it doesn't matter if those files fail. It doesn't matter if the drive fails. If this dies, it doesn't matter because I just download them from Dropbox again. But what I thought was, if this was running on a Raspberry Pi 24 hours a day, I could get access to those files, and accessing the files will be faster. And I don't have to use the Dropbox app, which sucks. because the Dropbox app, uses like 10% of your laptop CPU and all that. I wouldn't use as much if I was just accessing the files through the system. That's in theory. I don't know. Maybe it would just be as slow if I was going through the NAS drive. I don't know. But I do like the idea of getting a Synology drive. I don't think it's as good. I don't think it's as good as what I'd like it to be in certain situations. I think backups could be slower than connecting a drive directly. And, in an ideal world, I would just throw all my games on there as well, and then just play my games through there, and I don't have to worry about, game speed and all that. But I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you can do this and a lot of different ways you can set it up. Hey Ultra, the Dell outlet looks good. Yeah, I can vouch for it. If you check back in my videos from a year ago, you'll see I did videos from Dell for a gaming laptop and for the XPS 13. Although the XPS 13 was from the main website. So yes, I did one for the gaming laptop I bought from the outlet and I was happy with it. So guys, I'm going to call it quits at that because I've just realised I've not eaten in hours. I need to get my dinner. It's quite late, but yeah, keep in touch, guys. I'm going to check out the NAS stuff more often, more over the next few days. I'm maybe going to buy some things in Black Friday. I'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm trying not to spend money, but there is a lot of things that I need. So yeah, I'll try not to blow all my money. But yeah, I'm looking more into, at the moment, in the future, I'm looking at NAS. I'm looking at getting another hard drive for my computer. I'm looking at capture cards. I will still have to get out with this and review this as well. So stay tuned. I don't have a Discord, Sam, no. Simply, I've tried to move away from hanging out on Discord and things like that just because it was taking up so much of my time. And I already get like dozens of comments every day on YouTube and all that. It just became a little bit difficult to, plus you have to manage it and stop people from fighting and all that. Inspiron 3881 with an i3 is great for future upgrades. Yeah, I mean, I would say get the best CPU you can get for gaming because the CPU is probably something you're not going to upgrade cheaply when you get a PC because you have to sell the CPU and buy a new one. And sometimes you can't even do that because you're limited with what the motherboard can actually hold. Like my system can only go up to, I think, a 9700K, I think. But yeah, you're kind of limited with your components. It's kind of hard. It's hard because I know you're trying to juggle your monitor and you need to try and think of storage and all that as well. PC gaming isn't as cheap as console gaming. That's the reality of it. But it is becoming more popular now because of Fortnite and different things. But thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. Thanks for everyone who's tuned in. Thanks for everyone who's left a comment. I do appreciate all your help, Sam. It's good to hear from someone that does have a NAS drive because, I know about hard drives. I've been using hard drives for like 25 or 30 years now, but as far as network attached storage, I'm still kind of new with that. But it's good to come to this with a fresh mind and approach this as someone who's never done this before. So it'll be interesting to see what I buy. Initially I was actually just looking at 2-bay drives, but now that I'm seeing 5-bay drives for £250, maybe I need to pony up some cash and get something a little bit bigger. But there are some, there's definitely some options there as far as backups go that maybe I don't know. If I get a backup system just now, I'll maybe get a NAS system later. There's no point in getting a 9th generation earlier since the 10th generation using a new socket. Yeah, well, I was the same with the 8700K. It used a different socket as well. It's just what they've done. AMD have been better in that regard. My Synology is like having insanely fast cloud storage, but at home. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm looking for as well, just to kind of streamline things. But I need to increase the storage within my PC, outside my PC, and for the home. So it's one of those things. I've been meaning to do it for ages, and now I just have to drop the money now. So I just need to drop the money down, spend some money on it. It's never exciting buying a hard drive, but it's something I do need to do. But thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to call it quits at that. I do appreciate it. Stay tuned. I do have more videos coming soon this week. And yeah, I'll speak to you all very soon. But until next time, guys, take care. And best of luck with your PC by Ultra. Let me know how you got on. Thanks,